All right, folks, welcome back. And if you've been with us the past couple of weeks and you've been following the news, you know that our next guest has made headlines from interviews he's done on this show. Today, he's making more headlines. He wrote a piece at Newsmax.com. Bill Donohue, the head of the Catholic League, welcome back. This is becoming a regular occurrence, and I got to say, I like it. All right, so first, you were upset about the treatment of the St. Patrick's Day parade, and rightfully so. And you you talked about a boycott of beer companies that withdrew sponsorships. And then on top of that, you came here and you told us you had just, this about a week ago, you had just left filling out an application or making an appearance to get a permit to march in the Gay Pride Parade here in New York in June under a banner of "Straight is Great." And then you came on and set the record straight last week saying that while they indicated to the media that they gave you permission to march, they put conditions on it, and now you are not going to march. Explain everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of false misrepresentation and some bad media play on this thing. It was a week ago today that I came on the show about this. I had emailed one of the heads of the Heritage of Pride Committee a question. Can I belong to your group? Can I have a group, Straight is Great, and march in the parade? He said you have to go through training sessions to be for your grand marshal and stuff like that. So we were in the conversation. There was no invitation extended to me, and I never said I'm on board. I was questioning them about the conditions they're placing on me. Then I come on here with you, and I was a little bit surprised, and it certainly wasn't your fault or Newsmax. You were reporting what was out there in the media, which I wasn't aware of, that they were saying that I had already agreed that and this whole thing is kosher. Well, as a matter of fact...
No, and you came on last week and said that's not the case.
It wasn't the case at all. What they were doing is telling the media, Gothamist, and then AM New York, and then Newsday picks up from AM New York, and then AP picks up the Newsday AM New York story. No one ever calls me, by the way. No one ever bothered to meet from the media. I'm most disappointed at AP because they are a big blue chip standard in the wire services. And so no one bothers to find out my side of the story. No invitation was ever extended. I continued to ask them questions. They said, well, you have to go to these training sessions. I said, but I reject your rules. The whole point of this exercise, obviously, was to say that every parade has strictures. Every parade has house rules. They may differ. But who are gays to try and tell the people who run the St. Patrick's Day parade that they're out of line because
they have rules.
They don't go along with their rules?
Right.
And I proved my point. But what really bothered me is you get all these gay writers and activists then telling me the conditions. Then you have the gay pride fella telling Gothamists that as long as Bill Donohue doesn't infringe on the rights of the message and whatnot. So, and you know what? If that's their parade, God bless them. They have the right to draw their own lines. But what a bunch of hypocrites here at the gay activists at the Heritage of Pride Committee. They don't want to let me march because I object to their rules. And I told them, I said, you know, this has gone too far. But there's a lot of misrepresentation about this. I have the emails with the timing on all this. A lot of this stuff was done backdoor.
Well, are they denying that they would make you attend these training sessions in order to march?
That I have it in writing. They said it was mandatory.
Right, but are they denying it to
no,
the
they're
media?
Not, they're not denying
well, what kind of did they tell you what kind of training session this would be?
Look, let's just say it's totally legitimate. Okay. Again, that's their call. It's none of my business to tell them what their rules ought to be. My larger point was, you have rules.
Right. And
so does the St. Patrick's Day Parade have rules. You object to them, and then when the St. Patrick's Day organizers don't accede to your request, they're no good.
So
they're anti-gay.
It would be like you sitting here now and saying they must change their rules.
Yes,
and you're not doing that.
And I could, for that matter, I could say that they're anti-Catholic. I didn't say they're anti-Catholic.
Anti-straight.
Anti-straight. I'm the one who's being called all the names all over the place. I could go into the courts, couldn't I? That's what they did in 1995, and we won in the United States Supreme Court. When they didn't get their way with the rules, they challenged this in the federal courts. I don't sue people and go into the federal courts. I respect their right. I don't call them anti-Catholic. I think what happened in terms of some people in the media and certainly the organizers, there was a lot of duplicity and deceit. And as far as the name calling, well, that's what people do when they can't beat me in a debate.
All right. Now, you know, there's been a lot of crazy stories written, obviously, and one of them is from Gawker.com today. And the headline is Catholic League's Bill Donohue keeps pictures of naked men. Now, explain that.
I'll explain that. One of their rules, and don't believe me, go onto the Heritage of Pride and go check out their rules. One of their rules is to warn people that you can't go nude above the waist. You see, the girls can go nude above the waist because some, brilliant judge here a number of years ago said that if the men can, so can the women. I guess he didn't understand nature. But leaving that aside, this is the only parade in New York. Catholics, Jews, blacks, West Indies, Poles, Germans, everybody, Puerto Ricans has their parade. Nobody has a rule to tell people, make sure you keep your pants on. Now, there's a reason for this. In 1994, there were 2 parades in New York. One was a legal one up First Avenue. There was an illegal one. They didn't have a permit to march, but they went anyway, up Fifth Avenue. I knew this was going to be trouble. I hired a professional photographer. Men and women going naked in the street. Men masturbating in the street in front of St. Patrick's Cathedral. Satanic dances, throwing their middle fingers at St. Patrick's Cathedral, yelling F you on command.
I know that they used to have balloons, and the speculation was it was filled with a substance I'd rather not mention, and they threw those at St. Patrick's. I never knew about what you just alleged.
I have the pictures because I hired a professional photographer, and I had to go with the vice president of the Catholic League to visit the officials from the Giuliani administration, which, by the way, they were pretty fair. When I showed them the pictures, at first they thought I'm kind of prudish. Then I showed them the pictures, they were taken back. And I said, listen, I don't want violence, but Catholics will not put up with this kind of obscenity, this profanity.
In front of
St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Yeah.
Now, let me make it clear. Most gay people are good people. They had nothing to do with this. Even most gay activists, I would think, would certainly condemn this.
Absolutely.
But there is a minority of people who really have very twisted ideas about sexuality, and their hatred of the Catholic Church is totally unwarranted. We have the same teachings that many other world religions have. If you don't like it, opt out, practice diversity. We are not people of hate. I have said before, and I said it this year on another station, that if you are a Catholic and you are anti-gay, you should be thrown out of the Catholic Church. All right? I don't agree with gays when it comes to marriage and some other things. But the idea of painting everybody as a bigot, as a homophobe, simply because you disagree with the radicals, whom they themselves can't defend, and most average gay people would not even attempt to defend it, that simply is not, that's too much for me.
All right, so the bottom line here is you're not marching in the parade, and it's because they're enforcing these rules upon you.
I want to be very honest.
Yeah.
This was a ploy on my part to pull them out, and they took the suckers bait. Okay, I wanted to push them to tell me when I didn't agree with your rules that you weren't going to go along with it. I won on it. Okay, I mean, I had no intention of marching the parade. I wish them well. I have no animus against the people marching. I hope they someday they'll actually be able to do like the Irish and the Italians and everybody else. They'll actually, in the rule book, won't have to tell you that you have to keep your pants on as a condition of marching. That, to me, would be a major step forward.
Yeah, and I've said for years, as far back as I could remember, when the behavior in front of St. Patrick's was way out of hand and disgusting and abhorrent, and I would say that I can't imagine that anyone but a small minority, a very small minority of the gays in New York, let's say, because that's what the parade was, would want to participate in this, would condone this. So I'm with you. This does not represent, in my view, and I'm not gay, but does not represent the overwhelming majority of gays.
The average gay person is no more an activist about any cause than the average straight person is.
Right.
That there's an element of gay fascism, there's no question about it, and it's visited against the Catholic Church with alacrity.
All right, Bill, I always appreciate you coming, folks. You could also go to Newsmax.com and read everything that Bill has just said. It's all in writing, and let me congratulate you on proving a point.
Proving a point. Exactly.
Absolutely. All right, Bill. Always great to see you.
Thank you so much.
The great Bill Donohue, ladies and gentlemen, and this headline. I mean, you can see how Bill is always attacked, and this is why I admire him. I admire him because he speaks out on issues that are directly related, to Catholics. He's not afraid. Christians, Jews, any minority, anybody who's being oppressed or being threatened or is under attack, Bill Donohue and his Catholic League are out there. I wish there were more like Bill Donohue and the Catholic League. On the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax Television.
We don't just talk about the news, we talk to those making news. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.